Visit homegain150.com today to enter your promo code and get paid for buying or selling a house. That's HOMEGAIN150.com. This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Connection to Max Keiser over in Europe last Friday, but we've got him today for the next 52 minutes. I promise, for all the callers that are holding, we'll go to your calls early in the hour, then continue discussions into the end of the hour. Who knows, maybe even go into overdrive today with Max Keiser. Always great to have him on. We've got so many things to talk about. We've got William M. Daley, former head of the Commerce Department under Clinton, with the mysterious death of Ron Brown, now to go in and head up the White House operations for Obama. Talk about influence peddling. And we've got Obama announcing that he's going to use executive authority to do whatever he wants in the country, so expanding things that Bush did. There's a lot of other important news we're going to be covering. The incredible explosion of silver and gold. Get Max Keiser's view of what's headed into the new year. We've got all these other announcements that are coming out, showing more and more very serious storm clouds on the horizon. A lot of amazing police state developments that I haven't gotten to. Court OK searches of cell phones without warrant. And now the TSA is grabbing people's phones, downloading stuff off of them, their computers without a warrant. They're copying people's credit cards. But now the police are saying they can just do this to citizens. I mean, this is insane. I mean, your cell phone's your little computer, your little personal computer. And so they're saying that when the police arrest you and you're taken into custody, they don't even need a warrant for that. I mean, this is really crazy. I mean, folks, this is bona fide. They're getting rid of the bedrock of the Bill of Rights. First they told you it was for Al-Qaeda down the road, and now they say, no, it's for you, the American people. And an iron curtain of tyranny is ascending around the world. I want to get into all of the mysterious, what our last guest, Wayne Madsen, was saying is clearly inside job terror attacks in Europe and the Middle East, and all the evidence is there. But first off, Max, what do you think about the bird mystery? Microwaves, fireworks, secret weapons. What liquefies the innards of 5,000 birds, Max Keiser?
Well, why you asking about these birds right off the bat, man? I mean, there's a lot happening in the banking sector. The birds, I don't
Are the birds for the birds? Are the birds?
Yeah, the bees are all dying off. Remember a couple of years ago, the bees started dying. There's another huge die-off of bees. Without bees, there's no agriculture, there's no food, and then you have to rely on people like Monsanto. Birds are dying, the fish are dying. It's industrialization gone crazy. It's pollution. It's killing the natural habitat, and it's causing premature human extinction. That's been the trend. So, yeah, the natural world can only take so much pollution, and then it starts to die off, despite what some new members of Congress might feel is written in some ancient text. If you put a certain amount of garbage into the planet's ecosystem, you will kill the ecosystem.
Well, Max, I agree with you on that, but we're told put a tax on what plants breathe, and in the history of this planet, they know that carbon dioxide has been many, many, many times higher than it is now. Why do they focus on paying taxes to Al Gore and the UN instead of open-air genetic engineering, the German government studies connected to BT corn killing the bees, the electromagnetic studies out of Europe and even the U.S. and Canada, that the electromagnetics are killing trees and grass nearby, retarding their growth. I mean, my problem is government isn't focused on anything that's actually causing problems. They just want to tax what I exhale.
Yeah, the response to this problem, you've got two responses, taxes and carbon trading in the area of carbon emissions. Now, the problem with taxes, as you point out, is if it's going to be controlled by the same corrupt government, then we have no expectations that they would do any better job at collecting any kind of tax in any reasonable way related to anything. As far as carbon trading goes, well, that goes to Wall Street, and Wall Street is going to use it as a scam to pocket themselves billions of dollars and destroy that market as well, just like they destroyed every other market, and just like they're destroying what's coming on with Facebook. I don't know if you saw the news with Facebook, but they just did a deal with Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs now gets to buy $450 million worth of Facebook, totally bypassing the SEC rules and regulations. They're just breaking the law openly. The SEC has said we got to take a closer look at this. People who follow Wall Street tell you this is completely illegal, what they're doing. They're just allowing folks to cash in on Facebook without giving the public a chance to cash in on Facebook, even though it's the public that has made Facebook the $50 billion company it is by uploading all of their photos and chats and all of the messages that they upload to Facebook. Well, that's worth $50 billion to Goldman Sachs clients. How much is going to go to the people who actually created the value of Facebook? The public, they get absolutely nothing, and it's completely illegal. Don't forget also that Facebook uses Zynga, which is a virtual currency, and Zynga is a new way to load people up with another huge wave of debt. So they're going into a whole new virtual world of debt. Just like Monsanto uses seeds to create agricultural debt, Wall Street uses debt to create debt. Now you've got Facebook who's going to use Farmville and Zynga and virtual currencies to create virtual debt.
Exactly. Seeds were always a ever-replicating renewable resource, but now Monsanto and two other big giants, as part of an admitted strategic takeover program, make them agents of death that take over and infect the rest of the DNA of the planet, of the biosphere, not just mutilating, but irrevocably damaging, and then you've got to buy from them every year. It doesn't continue the life cycle. This is blasphemy according to all laws of nature or any religion. But where are the Christians? The Pope is out now promoting GMO. It's of the Lord. I mean, this is so devilish, what we see.
It is completely devilish. The Monsanto, what they call terminator seeds, are seeds that don't reseed. They don't populate. They don't, dandelions would bloom without seeds that would scatter to create more dandelions. But in this case, we're talking about agricultural products or food. So wheat and other foodstuffs would not bear seeds to regenerate themselves. All that becomes an intellectual property of a company like Monsanto. And when other genetically modified patented seeds blew into the field of a guy who was not growing Monsanto seeds, Monsanto sued him for intellectual property violation because the wind blew their product into his farm without him even knowing about it. So this is what they're trying to control the agriculture, the same way the Fed tries to control the money supply with debt. Monsanto's trying to control the food with terminator seeds and intellectual property seeds. And Facebook now wants to control the cyberspace with virtual debt and Zynga-based virtual currency. Well,
I have an analogy, Max, because it is a genetic issue. Monsanto, which literally owns the courts, has their former heads as the head of the EPA, the head of the FDA. They've got all the bases covered. Same thing in Europe. They get caught smuggling seeds in, and other companies do, into countries as literal military outposts. And it's the equivalent of this. They come and plant GMO canola right next to your field, or GMO soybeans, whatever the case is. There have been many cases of this, or GMO corn. It blows into your field. They trespass and have planes drop Roundup bombs on it. It kills an area. Then they fly over and see that a few plants are alive. Those were the few that were Monsanto from seeds getting in, or part of their genetics, and then they come sue you admitting that they infected you. That'd be like if a man, a next-door neighbor, moved in, stalked your wife, raped her, and then when she got pregnant, he comes and demands the baby, saying it's his, instead of going to jail. That's what Monsanto does.
Right, and they're doing it on an intercontinental basis. They've totally destroyed large parts of India's agricultural industry. This is why thousands of Indian farmers have committed suicide, because they are sold Monsanto seeds at the point of a gun, and then when they can't afford to upgrade because the seeds don't reproduce, and they are heavily in debt because they have to go in debt to keep buying the seeds. And by the way, the fertilizer, the genetically modified fertilizer, only works with genetically modified seeds. So they get you have to buy the GM fertilizer, the GM seeds, and of course they go deeper into debt, and thousands of them are killing themselves. And this is part of the Monsanto program, is that they're death merchants. And they're far more, if you do, I'll do a little experiment. You can do an experiment right now. They're the Monsanto lawyers are deeply embedded in the internet. Anyone can try this. If you write a blog about Monsanto, they are right on you quickly. They are much more litigious than Exxon or the energy companies. They are really, in my opinion, of all the companies I've tracked over the years, they are the absolute worst.
Well, finishing up with Monsanto and these other big GMO companies, if you go back to Henry Kissinger's State Department Memorandum 200, Kissinger said, we'll use food as a weapon. We'll take over the third world. And, I mean, it's an amazing business model coming out of this coterie of companies. And I guess that's just the way it is. We've just got to submit to it and worship them, and it's wonderful.
Well, it's dead. And, of course, they go in there with this idea that they're saving farmers and they're making food available, and they get them hooked on these intellectual property-protected seeds that they administer like a central bank. It's a currency. It's an agricultural currency, but it's all debt-based. And so you have agricultural debt, you have monetary debt from the central banks, which you cover all the time. You know this very well. Then you have this new virtual debt, which is coming via Facebook, which is now in bed with Goldman Sachs, who is financed with some Russian oligarch people, and they're putting together now a multi-billion-dollar, 600 million user debt farm, a virtual debt farm.
And you predicted that it would be turned into a giant casino gulag. We'll be right back with Max Keiser with his outlook for this year. Stay with us.
Go solar for cheap. Want to use solar power but the price is too high? Now you can build your own solar panels for less than $200 at 123cheapsolar.com. Don't laugh. We've sold over 45,000 solar do-it-yourself kits. Watch the step-by-step videos that even non-handyman types can use. We offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to 123cheapsolar.com or call 800-713-0486. 800-713-0486. Reduce your foreign oil dependency when you go green with 123cheapsolar.com.
We, the people, grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a silver dollar in a book